Hello guys, welcome back to Sit on Sports. Today I'm not doing a Manchester United related video, or to some extent, it's all a matter of perspective. Yeah, I'll be going through the Liverpool and Man City game last night. Well, from the time I'm filming this, these headphones are just for microphone purposes. Hopefully I'll actually be giving pictures just to have a point of reference to what I'm talking about. I was going to go through the game anyway, regardless of what happened, and of course the significance of it, the points and all that. But the game itself was absolutely. I'm a neutral technically. Obviously, these two teams are battling each other for the title, and these two are, of course, Manchester United's main rivals in the Premier League, and of course that is quite heart strike what we're talking about. Basically, it's, of course, I don't want these two teams battling after the title. I'd rather have Chelsea or something go for it. But at the end of the day, the top six are all rivals. At the end of the day, this league is quite competitive. But of course, Liverpool and Man City have been that level above everyone else, and yeah, it's gonna be a close one. And now Liverpool were 7 points ahead, and of course they could have gone 10 points ahead if they won this game. Man City had the advantage of being at home, and that definitely showed at the first 5 or 10 minutes. I think Man City were just getting comfortable, but then Liverpool definitely grew into the game and had that one chance. That is ridiculous. So Salah, Mane linking up, absolutely brilliant one-touch passing, knifed them like butter, like dead. Played like the defense wasn't there, and that's how Liverpool have been playing all season. As hard as it is to admit from a United fan, they've got 20 games unbeaten for a reason. They went 20 games for a reason, unbeaten. This is why they're in the position. They've got so many points now. It's up to Man City to catching them up now. Liverpool are not putting the pressure on now. They are at the top dogs, and will they slip? Of course, not figure of speech there, no pun intended. Yeah, but of course this is the game where they faltered, and I think they could have done much better, to be honest. It was just all about the fine margins, as many people have been saying. Let's just go back to that hitting the post, goal line technology. Of course, it's been football Twitter has gone absolutely ballistic, putting Pep's scarf over the ball, putting laughing emojis over the ball. People talking about shadows. Liverpool fans embarrassing themselves. Like, why are they doing that? Oh, the shadows like this. Oh, no, it's not about the shadow, is it? It's about the actual ball, mate. But that is the closest as it will possibly be. And to be honest, if I was in that position, I would be quite angry if my team just somehow missed that chance after all that good work. Linking up, I think who shot? I think it was Mane or Salah. I'm an idiot. Well, regardless, I think it hits the bar, and then I think it's John Stones tries to clear it first time, but it bounces off Ederson, who's also trying to get the ball. So all miscommunication there, all frantic. Man City is just fighting for this, keeping the game to their favour, because of course Man City, if they lose, they know Liverpool more likely or not are going to win the league, unless some miracle happens and they lose so many points, 10 points, you know what I mean? And that's assuming Man City don't get beaten themselves. So Man City were frantic at the back at that particular moment. You can't blame them. Hits off Ederson. If that goes in, Ederson's going to be ridiculed. John Stones saves his career, as some people were saying. Wouldn't say that. I think that was just untimely error. I think any goalkeeper would have been in that situation where their defender and themselves are trying to get the ball, but they don't realise that clash between their own players makes that collateral damage, and millimeters. And I felt sorry for Liverpool, but the only thing Liverpool could have done there is just carried on, even after that. And sometimes you think fate is not on their side, but Liverpool, they could have carried on doing that, and Man City just grew into the game. Once again, they saw that as an opportunity to be like, no, Liverpool are actually onto us now. We have to start playing to our advantage. And then, of course, the midfield of Liverpool has been noted several times during the analysis of this game, is that the midfield wasn't up to scratch with Man City's, and that was proved quite evident from Fernandinho coming back. And of course, when people come back from injuries, it can be difficult for them to adjust, especially in a big game. But Fernandinho is a big game player, and he has proved himself to be elevating himself to a level that is quite extraordinary, and he proves a very, very important part of this Man City team. Of course, you have the Agueros, you have the Sterlings. Sterling was really good today, in my opinion. I think with the dribbling and all the assist making, I think he was very good at just being part of the team. But Fernandinho just makes that stabilization of the defense. Company, of course, doesn't help that. It does help that it has Company and Stones behind him, but Fernandinho can do so much than just block the defense. He can make that balls forward. He can just just keep it so. I can't. There's no word to do. He had no problem with Liverpool's great midfield, who have led them for 20 games. But of course, I think Fabinho was the better option. But of course, Klopp stuck with his guns in the middle. There's no reason. Loads of people would have done the same thing. Loads of in his position, they'd be doing so well. But in this case, I think it was just the wrong time for them, as Fernandinho did come back from injury. And of course, when you got a clinical striker like Aguero, it's going to make it 1-0. Lovren switched off. I think he is the weak link in the squad. I think lots of people have known this for a long time. But of course, he does have good. Yeah, he does have good attributes. He would have been in the team if he didn't have that. But I think Joe Gomez is the better fit, and he can switch off in big games, Lovren, and he clearly did in that case. Van Dijk was always in the way of most shots, but there's only so much he can do. You know what I mean? Some people making jokes like Van Dijk, like next training session with Lovren is just gonna be like, piss off. But now Van Dijk's a brilliant get for Liverpool. He's one of the main reasons they're in this position, that they're still 4 points ahead. And yeah, also 1-0 up for Man City. But of course, Liverpool, they took their game into their own hands. They proved that they had the guts to go out there and challenge Man City, as they've been doing for the past couple of seasons in the Champions League and the league. And they got that goal. Firmino's doing well against the big teams. He's proven himself to be a big game player, even if he doesn't score as many goals as people would like him to play. But I think he does fit in to that, of course, their system. That front three is deadly. Have that chemistry together. But Salah once again disappearing, man. I don't know what he's doing. He's maybe it's just everyone against Salah just knows about his talent and just somehow always neutralises him. But Salah needs to find a way to just try and get past that. You know what I mean? Salah, I just haven't seen him play that good in the big games. You know what I mean? But I love the guy. I love Salah to bits. Even though he's a Liverpool player, he's a nice guy. You can tell he's a nice guy, and he puts his heart and soul into the game, and he does produce some beautiful moments. But in this case, it just didn't work. He was not. I kind of forgot he played, to be honest. But I'm not going to go too badly on him. I think Mane was always going to be. Mane's a good player. I think I rate him, but he does that decision making in the final third can be questionable sometimes. But in this case, got the ball in. Firmino heads home, 1-1. Now it's game on, and to be honest, after that, I thought Liverpool were going to win it. But kind of against the type of play, Man City that's what big teams do. They just turn the game on its head, and it doesn't matter how the momentum is, they can change it like that. Big game players do that. And who scores the second goal? Sané. Yes, Leroy Sané, the youngster. But he's not the youngster. He's propelled himself to a level that is really good. And Sané, I think he gets underrated sometimes in the Man City squad, but I think people now are just starting to see how good he is and how vital he is. Like internationally, in international games, maybe he's not so good, but for Man City, he's perfect. He's perfect. That strike was so good, but you can't be giving him that time and space. Alexander-Arnold's got to be picking up his man. When you give him that time and space, despite how much left he's got to go in the tank, of course, all these years to come, he still finds a way. That bottom right corner, as far as from the goalkeeper as possible. 2-1, game, set, match. There was still 20 minutes left, but Man City did well of defending at the final 5 minutes. It was only like 5 minutes extra time, I think. Liverpool trying to get balls in the box, but they were just frantic. I think they didn't really have a plan, and when it's in your head that, oh crap, we need to score last minute winner, sometimes your attributes that got you in the good place in the first place just kind of goes out the window. So you just don't produce the good balls and good passes that you would want to in that final moment when it's all just pressurising. And it finished 2-1 for Man City, of course. For a Man U fan, as for myself, I did prefer Man City to win. I think many people would prefer Man City to win. I don't know why Tottenham and Chelsea and Arsenal prefer Man City to win. Maybe it's because they just like the joke of Liverpool not winning the title for 30 years. And I love that joke, but that could soon come to an end. I thought it was, at the back of my head, it was coming to a close that I think Liverpool were going to win the league. But now, 4 points between them, there's no reason why Man City can catch up, but there's no also reason why Liverpool can't carry on. So people saying, oh, Liverpool are going to bottle the league already. See, you can see it now. We're just over halfway done the season, you know what I mean? We've got 17 more games, anything can happen. Small teams can beat big teams can beat small teams. Of course, I think Man City are more prone now this season to losing against small teams. I think Leicester and Crystal Palace are good examples recently, whereas Liverpool, I think, against small teams, they're quite efficient. But of course, in this case, against Man City, they didn't win. Of course, I think it's Liverpool against the big teams that they could falter against Man United, who, of course, us. Man United, of course, on the rise. Arsenal winning to get a draw. Chelsea, of course, savvy ball, inconsistent a bit sometimes. They just drew to Southampton 0-0, but when they're on it, they're on it. So I think for Man City, it could be the smaller teams that could break them, whereas for Liverpool, it could be the big teams that break them. Or, not break them, but like lose their points, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just fantastic game of football. Liverpool now have the benefit of a little bit of a break between games, and this is their chance to just regroup and just have that just mental game. It's all about the mental game just as much as the physical game now. If they win the title, if they want to win the title. Yeah, they haven't been talking about the title specifically throughout the unbeaten period. I think they've just been taking it as a game-by-game basis that they're gonna win. But sooner or later, there have to be like the mentality that yes, we are gonna win the title. Like they're gonna have to mention the title. They're gonna have to. I'm not saying the players haven't mentioned title in training or something, but Klopp needs to state that, needs to bring that oozing, like calmness that no, everything's fine. If we just take on the game-by-game basis, if we do what we strive to do. This game was only a blip. It was only a lucky for them. We could have if that first goal goes in, that could completely turn everything on its head. Unlucky. We go again. We go again. We're gonna win that title. We're gonna win that trophy that I've been sorely missing. Klopp's been sorely missing for a couple of years himself. Whereas Man City, they're looking to prove a dynasty, as Sky Sports been saying. Of course, it's all about reaching the next level of retaining titles and getting the Champions League, which, of course, for a Man U fan, I hope they don't get the Champions League. But I'd rather them win the title over Liverpool. But Tottenham, of course, they still could prove a threat in the title race. I don't think they will win the league, but they could prove a significant factor in saying who they beat. For say, if they beat Liverpool, you know what I mean? Like they could do so. Of course, Chelsea is quite close as well. It's been a couple of years since feels like a long time since a proper title race. Last season, of course, Man United, we were second, but that was such a big gap, and yeah, let's not talk about that. Yeah, so it's gonna be. But I am backing Man City. I'm backing Man City, and I want Man City to win. To us, for obvious reasons. I think Man City. I think if they win it, I think many people will just say, oh, "Okay, it's Pep Guardiola's doing his thing." They've had that money they've had loads of money spent on them. They basically just bought their way for the title again. That's how I want to say it. That's how I want to see it, at least. But they are playing some beautiful stuff. Liverpool themselves have been paying a lot of money, though. You can't forget that. Liverpool themselves, their team 3-4 years ago is completely different to what they are now, and they've spent quite a lot of cash. But loads of people don't like to admit that, in my opinion. But of course, they are doing well with the money they've spent. They've built something here that is going to be hard to beat. But Man City are going to be looking to capitalise. They have a break as well, of course. But they're going to be looking to start again. Okay, this is where the season now. These players need to be looking now. Do you want to be the one season wonder, or do you want to earn your wages, earn your high wages and they did look like they were getting into the game. The atmosphere apparently in the Etihad was actually the best quite ever. So yeah, of course the Etihad has been known for its empty seats and lack of singing. Hey. Of course, I'm not one to talk. Yeah. But of course, Bernardo Silva was quite frustrated at some points during the game. Of course, the decision's not going his way. the players did seem that they actually gave a crap. And Mendy, Mendy's just got. Mendy's not actually playing, but he's so enthusiastic about the game in general. He comes on with his orange coat, and I'm just looking at the picture now. People, before he was a bystander, I thought he was a bystander. I was like, who's this guy celebrating with the players? Is he like a mate of Aguero or something? Yeah, but Aguero's such a top class finisher. I would loved him to be in that Man U squad. He's so consistent. He's a machine. He is a machine. And when I see Aguero on the team sheet, I almost know he's going to score, even if they do lose. You know what I mean? I've always rated Aguero so much, and David Silva. I think them two. If you can consider people legends in the City team, even though they aren't, there isn't really any history to them. I think I would consider David Silva and Aguero to be icons of Man City, especially when they retire. I think they'll be. Yeah, I rate them so much. But Sterling, I think Sterling's fit well in teams. Sane, of course, showing his class, and he's an exciting young talent. He's an exciting talent already. He's already reached his potential in the club form, at least. Internationally, we'll see. Yeah, I think that's all I've got now. Premier League FC versus Liverpool FC. That's what I've been seeing, and of course, I don't want to make any proper predictions just yet. It's still a long way to go. It could change in the next game. You know what I mean? Liverpool could win, and then Man City could lose to like a small team again. But Man City's fixture list, I think it's February and March when things start. I think they have the toughest run going to the end of the going into the end of the season. Liverpool have a slightly easier run, but still got us to verse in Old Trafford. But Man City, I think they've got Chelsea and Arsenal in 2 weeks consecutive. I think, and then they got in February, and then in March I think they got Manchester United. Of course, that's always a difficult game. It's always a close game, except the one this season, for obvious reasons once again. But of course, Champions League could prove a decisive factor. But I think Liverpool need to just. I think they've got to the Champions League final last season, but if they wanted to win the league, I think they just need to prioritise the league more. And if they were smart, I would think they would do that. Whereas Man City, they're looking to build the Champions League, of course, as their portfolio, to build that reputation up, make them a super European club, and win the Champions League. Maybe Man City, all they're looking to get as far as possible, but I don't think they'll win this Champions League. I'd hate for them to win the Champions League. That's the one thing we have over them. So yeah, what was that thought noise? Yeah, so Champions League fixtures could prove of course, Liverpool have Bayern. So if Liverpool were to lose that game against Bayern, of course, as long as it's not like humiliation or something that gets in their heads, maybe they wouldn't be too sad about it, because they'll leave them more time, more space to get fit, and just have more time to spend on just getting these players ready for each and every game that is going to be a cup final, as Guardiola says for his team. So yeah, the Man City have the easier fixture with Schalke, so they'll be looking to progress there. But maybe even for them, even if they lose to Schalke, and there have been cases of Man City getting upsetted by Hoffenheim and them in the group stage. But yeah, whoever gets out of the Champions League first could prove good for them in the long run. But in the other hand, they could say that these teams, you get beaten in the Champions League, then how you expect to win the league if you're not performing to the highest ability in those games? Bloody hell, I've been speaking too much. Excuse me, guys. Let me know if you want more videos like this, again with other teams as well. Yeah, I always appreciate your support. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. I always appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey.